Hello to all my story lovers. Today I am going to read second chapter of the Tales of Tenali Raman. Second chapter is the memorable meeting with King Krishnadevraya. Before proceed, please subscribe, share and like it. Now let's read. There was once a great kingdom of Vijayanagar in Karnataka. It was founded by the blessings of the great sage Vidyarayana. Vijayanagar kingdom had chain of great rulers in succession. The most famous and the mighty of them was King Krishnadevraya. He was brave, wise, and generous. He was a mighty warrior and had a great army. He patronized art, culture, and literature. Under his rule, Vijayanagar kingdom reached the peak of its glory. It was one of the most powerful and enlightened empire of the world. King Krishnadevraya had 8 ministers in his court. They were known as Diggajas. There was a story of an elephant who was supporting the earth with its 8 heads in 8 directions. So the king's 8 wise ministers were compared to this legendary elephant. King Krishnadevraya personally selected all his ministers purely for their expertise in their individual fields. These ministers were assigned special tasks which they had to handle individually and independently. They also advised the king in matters of court and other things. Tenali Raman reached the palace gate of King Krishnadevraya. He was blessed by goddesses Kali, but still he was not allowed to pass through the gate. The admission to the court and the meeting with the king was not a path of roses for him. He was just an unknown village boy from a remote, underdeveloped village. Vijayanagar was one of the most flourishing and gardenized kingdom which was beyond his imagination. Visitors from other parts of India and abroad would come to meet the king. They were very much impressed by the vigor, virtue, and wisdom of the king, and awestruck by the splendor of the kingdom. Raman was no ordinary boy. He was a boy with determination, inborn wit, and blessed by goddesses Kalika Amba herself. He had been refused entry at the palace gate by the guard, for he had no permit and no acquaintance to introduce him. He stood near the gate. In a few minutes, he saw a troop of artists going through the gate. Suddenly, he thought a plan. He went behind the bushes to change his getup. He dressed as a shepherd and again approached the guard. He said to him, "Look, I am a member of that troop of artists which had just gone inside. My dress was not ready, hence I am late. Please allow me to go inside." The guard refused him entry. Raman was quick-witted. He came up with another idea. He persistently told the guard, "Sir, please let me in. You know the king is a great lover of art and is very generous. We are going to perform before him. He will generously gift me. I will give you half of whatever I get." The guard was greedy. He cunningly smiled. Now he readily allowed Raman to go inside. Once inside, he saw the splendor and the vastness of the palace, which confused him. Tenali Raman also lost track of the artist. He roamed around trying to open the doors and going through the corridors. Suddenly, he stepped where the troupe of artists was performing on stage. Ramalila was being performed and it was a scene of Bharat Milap. At that moment, Tenali Raman made his entry. He was standing between Rama and Bharat. At first, all got confused with the entry of a boy between Rama and Bharat. The truth then slowly began to sink in the minds of the artist and the audience, and they began to laugh. But disruption angered the king. The guards caught Tenali Raman and brought him in front of the king. "Who are you? Why did you disturb the drama? King Krishnadevraya asked him. My lord, my name is Raman. I have come from village of Tenali to serve you. Tenali Raman said fearlessly. Who sent you? The king angrily asked. Your Majesty, Mother Goddess Kali sent me here. She blessed me and instructed me to meet your highness. She told me that you will make me your court gesture. Tenali said innocently. Krishnadevraya felt annoyed at Tenali Raman's reply. He angrily decided to punish this foolish fellow. He ordered the guards to lash him 100 times. Hearing this, Tenali Raman was not perturbed. He thought that he had seen goddess Kalika Amba and had been blessed by her. He prepared himself for the worst. He bowed to the king and said, Your Majesty, I shall happily receive whatever punishment you give me, but I have a partner to share your gift. Krishnadevraya looked at the Tenali Raman in surprise. It has happened like this. Tenali Raman explained, My lord, I promise one of your guards half the share of my reward. Only then did he allow me to come in. So to fulfill my promise, I will have to share these lashes with him. King Krishnadevraya was very intelligent and wise. His anger also vanished. Now he took keen interest in the Tenali Raman. He noticed that Tenali Raman was a very talented boy. To test him further, the king pretended to be angry. He said, Tenali Raman, bribing is also a punishable offense. Therefore, I hereby order that your head be cut off tomorrow morning. The king wanted to know how he would save the situation, so he did not mention anything to anyone. Everyone at the court was shocked to hear about the execution. They thought this was too severe a punishment for so ordinary crime. The courtiers felt sorry for the boy. The guards took him away and kept him in a prison. Next morning, the guards took him to the gallows to behead him. They also felt that the punishment was too harsh for such a young child. In fact, they were surprised to see that Tenali Raman was not disturbed. Tenali Raman was not worried about what was going to happen. He was busy thinking of plan to save himself from the difficult situation. He told the guards that it was his habit to take a bath and perform religious rituals in the morning. The guards gave him permission to do so. He then took a bath and performed his morning rituals. Then they bought and gave him plenty of foods and some fruits to eat. They took pity on his innocent boy. Tenali Raman was tired and hungry after the rituals and ate a hearty meal. Then he lied down and went to sleep. The guards could not do anything, for it is against nature to kill a man while he is sleeping, and Tenali Raman was just a little boy. They waited for Raman to wake up. Then, when Tenali Raman opened his eyes, he saw the guards were not eager to kill him. He told them, Guards, you allow me to do my rituals and even feed me. I know that you have to do your duty and obey the king. I know that you don't want to kill me. Yes, dear boy, we do not want to kill you. You are just like our own son. The guard said, Oh, my elders, I have a plan wherein you do your duty and I will escape death. Tenali Raman said, Oh, son, if you have a plan, tell us. We will accept it. The plan should be such that it will free you from the death without our disobeying the king's order. The guard said, Oh, my dear ones, I won't mislead you. My plan is very simple. I shall stand in neck-deep water when I say, Jai Kalikamba. You swing your swords to chop my head, said Tenali Raman. The guards could not understand his words, but they agreed to carry out his plan. Tenali Raman again went into the waters of Tungabhadra river. He stood in neck-deep water and closed his eyes. The guards had prepared themselves for the final act. They drew up their swords and kept them ready in their hands. Now they were waiting for Tenali Raman to utter Jai Khalika Amba. Tenali Raman was smart. As soon as he said Jai Khalika Amba, he dug his head under water before the guards swung their swords. The guards were swift but not fast enough to cut the Tenali Raman head. He dug deep and swam away. He came out at some distance and was swimming on the surface. The guards were wondering and searching for him. They didn't understand what had happened. Now Raman called out them. They saw him alive and thought it was a miracle. Then Ali Raman came to them and said, "You did your duty. You drew your swords to chop my head, but I, who am blessed by goddesses Kali, escape it. Now take me back to the king and we will explain it to him." The guards took him to the king. The king patiently heard the story. He thought that this boy was very clever and the goddesses Kalika Amba have really blessed him. He wanted to test him further. So he said, "Tenali Raman, you somehow have managed to escape this time, but it will not happen again." Then the king turned to his guards and said, "This time be more careful. Take him outside the town, bury him neck deep under the ground so he cannot duck or dive. Then trample his head with an elephant. Now quickly do your duty and see that he does not escape again." Despite giving such strict orders, King Krishnadevraya was sure that Tenali Raman would somehow manage to survive. The king liked him very much and wanted to appoint him as a minister. Tenali Raman was this time in a very tight corner. The guards took him to the end of the town. They dug a deep hole in the ground and buried him up to the neck. They filled the pit completely so Tenali Raman was unable to move at all. He was only able to see them. Thus, making sure of this, the guards left him in the afternoon sun and went to fetch an elephant. Tenali was praying to goddesses Kalika Amba. Then came his escape. The pit was on the route of palace laundrier. He was passing by with heavy loads of laundry. The laundrier was hunchbacked due to carrying heavy bundles of cloth on his back every day. Tenali Raman observed the situation. The laundrier also saw the boy was buried up to the neck in the pit under the sun. He came nearer. Out of curiosity, he asked, "Why are you buried here?" That was what Tenali Raman was. "Oh dear laundrier, I had back more hutch than yours. By sheer good luck, I found this great doctor suggested this secret treatment." Now Raman stopped, as if he did not want to disclose the secret. The laundrier became impatient and wanted to know the secret treatment. He requested Tenali Raman to tell him more about it. Tenali Raman asked him to come nearer, as he was doing him a great favor. He said, "My dear friend, a doctor put me in this pit and buried me with mud. I stood in this deep trench for a few hours. It is because of the pressure of the earth all around me that my back has been straightened. True to what the doctor said, I am already feeling that my back has become erect. I now request you to see it for yourself." The laundrier eagerly dug out the surrounding mud and lifted Tenali Raman out of the pit. He examined Tenali and saw Tenali's straightened back. There was no trace of hunch on him. Now he begged Tenali Raman, "Dear friend, I also want to try your treatment. Please help me to get into the pit and fill it properly and tightly. So like you, I will also come out erect." Tenali Raman put the laundrier into the pit and covered him up to his neck. He completely filled the loose mud all around him. He also helped him by carrying his laundry to the palace. The guards returned with the elephant, but they found the stranger in the pit where they had buried Tenali Raman. They were very much surprised to see him. They asked him and then they understood everything. They dug him out of the pit and took him straight to the king. When the guards reached the palace, Tenali Raman was already there. All went in together. Tenali Raman was standing before the king with load of palace linen. The laundrier and the guards explained everything. Krishnadevraya burst out with laughter. He also praised Tenali Raman for his wit. The king said, Raman, I am very much impressed by you. I am now appointing you as a minister in my court. Tenali Raman was very Tenali Raman was very pleased, but he wanted to become a court jester and not a minister. So he said, Your Highness, I am very happy that you are pleased with me. I feel honored that you are appointing me as a minister, but I am afraid that I cannot carry out the responsibilities of a minister. I want to be a court jester. Also, I have the blessing of Goddess Kali. Tenali Raman had spoken very humbly, but hearing the refusal of his own order, the king became very angry and shouted, How dare you defy my command? Go away from here at once and don't show me your face. Tenali Raman left the court. Next day, the royal court had assembled as usual in the middle of the proceedings, and a strange person appeared in the court hall. Everyone's attention was drawn towards him. The person was dressed very grandly, but his head was covered with an earthen pot. The pot had two holes which had two eyes peering through them. All the courtiers were gazing in wonder, and some even began to laugh. The king questioned the strange man, Who are you, and why are you wearing a pot on your head? He replied, Oh, sir, I am your most obedient servant, Tenali Raman. Yesterday you ordered me not to show you my face. So I have covered my face with this earthen pot and have came to attend the court. The king Krishnadevraya had already developed the liking for the intelligent and witty boy. He said to Tenali Raman, Raman, from today you will be minister as per my wish and a court gesture as per your wish. This will solve the problem. From today onwards, you will be known as Tenali Raman. The king got up and hugged the brave and talented boy and gifted him beautiful present. King Krishnadevraya liked Tenali Raman very much. He became popular as a court jester. He was blessed by goddess Kali as a great jester and as a Vikatakavi. A Vikatakavi is the poet who composes poetry immediately in a bold and humorous way. Now, this is the ending of the story. Please subscribe, like, and share. Bye bye.